Hi everyone, this is the next instalment of Rico's Rescues, and I'm going to introduce you to our new piece of furniture that was donated to the shop, and I'd like some ideas as to what to do. So it's kind of, would you say, Art Deco-y? I'm not sure what it is. I mean, it's quite almost futuristic as well, but it has these mirrored fronted drawers, which unfortunately two of them, as you can see there, are cracked. That one and that one. They've got kind of a gold trim along here that goes all the way around each drawer front. It looks like at some point it's had something attached to it, because it's got two holes, one there and one there. So I don't know what, I mean, it can't be a mirror, I don't think, because I've got it on a platform. So when it's not on the platform, it's lower than the actual platform is now. So it's only 18 inches high, so I doubt it was a mirror. So if you've any ideas what that might be, I don't know. It's not on legs as such, it's just on a tatty piece of wood that's got a veneer steamed onto it, and that's peeling off, so that'll need trimming. But my idea, and shout if you hate this, it was either going to be black and then put a vinyl over the top which was black with a gold flower, and then spray these knobs that are looking a bit worse for wear, spray them back to gold again, so have it black and gold, so it'd be quite Japanese. But also what I thought was, just as an alternative, is instead of the black and gold, I have this from a previous thing that I did for myself, which is again, it's a vinyl with this flower on it. You peel off the back and it will stick. So I was thinking maybe stick that to the drawer fronts and paint the top of it, the wood, a deep sort of cherry red. Actually deeper than that, it's quite pinky, but more of a dark cherry red, almost, well, it's very, very dark red. So let me know your thoughts on which one you think would look the best. So we're going to leave it there for now, and we'll see you on the next one. Hello, we have decided what we are going to do with this sideboard. We are going to go with the black vinyl, as per the thumbnail on the previous video. This is going to be black, the top. We're going to touch up this with some gold paint. We're going to retouch up the knobs. We will need to fill these holes with some well, I thought I had wood filler, but I haven't got any, so I've got some dowels, but they're a bit too big at the minute, so I need to trim them down and tap them, glue them in there, and then trim them off. So these sides will be black as well. So I think what we need to do first, though, because this has been out here for a week, is give it a wipe down. So let's get on with that. So we've given it a wipe down. You won't have heard me on the last section of video because it's time lapse, but we actually knocked it off the stand as we were trying to set everything up, and in doing so the back came off, which is down there, but we've given it a clean. We've whittled some dowels for these holes that were in it, so the next job we're just going to glue those in, tap them in, let the glue go off, and then saw them off, and then give it all a light sanding. So we filled the two little holes that we had. Sorry, there it is there. What was that? It's just sawdust, I think. So we're just going to give it a light sanding now with some fine sandpaper, just to give it a bit of a key really. Doesn't need much at all for when we come to do the paint. You can see these edges here are a bit gnarly, so I need to do something with those, because obviously we don't want stuff like this showing through once we've painted it. So we've got that bit, this bit here, tiny little bit there, and then just a tiny little bit there. And obviously at some point we'll need to reattach the back. It wasn't very well attached anyway, because some of these little notches that they've cut so they could bend it are a bit delicate and have cracked, so it wasn't really holding the back on very well. And then another thing is the sort of base that it's on is really tatty, and which has made my decision for me, the end piece is missing off this end, just off this end. So I think what we're going to do is take this off completely, get rid of it, and then I've bought some black legs that are gold at the bottom, which will be in keeping with the black and gold that we're doing on the rest of the unit. Okay, so sorry, I think I was blocking the camera there, do apologize. We'll see you on the next segment. So we've masked off one of the drawers, and we're just going to try this gold spray paint to see if we can get this looking a bit better, because you can see it's quite pitted. So we're just going to give this a quick experiment. It looks more antique gold, whereas this looks like yellow. I don't know how you'd say it. So let's just give it a quick whirl. That doesn't look too bad actually. Maybe come around this back side a little bit. Although it is a little bit bubbly, maybe because it's so cheap. It's only $1.95 I think, something like that. Or maybe I just didn't shake it enough. But yeah, that looks okay I think. So we're going to go ahead with that. We're going to take all the knobs off and do the knobs as well. Okay, so we've given the knobs from the drawers a quick spray, and we've done all round the 4 drawers. There's 2 of us over here. We're just letting that bake in the Spanish sun, although it's gone behind a cloud now. So I think next what we're going to do is we're going to flip this thing and take off this base. And tomorrow the legs arrive, so what I want to do is get the bottom of it painted black underneath, and then I can flip it back over and get the rest of it painted. And then we're just waiting, well, the vinyl's coming tomorrow as well, so we should get a quick turnaround on this, hopefully. So while we've got it upside down, it gives us a chance to have a try with this matte black paint and see how it comes out. So let's give it a shot. Okay, we're going to let that dry. It's obviously going to need another coat. Probably a light rubbing down in between. So let's let this dry. We'll add another coat and we'll see how it looks. Hello there and welcome back. We've had a bit of a problem the last couple of days. Let me show you. So what that's responsible for is some of the hailstorm. This was under the roof here, but it was that intense, the hailstorm. They were bouncing. This was up the other way because we'd just painted it, and this has got damp, so it's blown the MDF, which is medium density fiberboard. And water is not the friend of MDF, so where this is dry, it's solid. This, on the other hand, has gone like a sponge, so it's all moving, so it needs to dry out. What we've done on this side is it's not gone, we've just put some glue in these and then clamped the top of it, because it's actually created a bit of a, if you look along here, you can't see it now because of this is in the way, but it's created kind of a hump here where it's swollen out, and that wouldn't be so bad if it was the bottom, but this is the actual top of the unit. So I don't know whether you can see it at that far end. There's kind of a hump here, it kind of goes up, so I think we're just going to have to wait for it to dry out before we do anything. So we're going to do that. They say it's been 2 days of just rain and hailstorms, so let's see how we get on. Hi, another day, and we've had just delay after delay because of the weather and because of this getting damp. And as you can see, we've given it a couple of coats and sanded down in between, but the problem we've got is that hump there where the MDF, the wood that's inside, has swollen. I don't know whether that makes it clear enough for you. So what I'm going to try and do is, because it's got a veneer on the top of MDF, I'm going to try and get the sander and sand this down to see if I can get rid of the hump that it shouldn't have. This back edge, as you can see as well, is slightly raised, so I want to try and get rid of that. The problem we've got is that this is the top I could turn it round, I would have to adjust where these go, because these are for the runners for the drawers, and would need moving slightly to accommodate the drawers up the other way. But the problem we've got is that the bottom isn't one full piece. There's a big, well, a 1/4 inch gap in the wood, so we'd need to fill that gap. So bearing in mind this is going into a thrift store, it's not going into we're not trying to sell it directly online for a set amount. It's going into a charity shop, so people are going to expect to buy a cheap piece of furniture, so it doesn't have to be pristine, and whoever buys it might do their own thing with it. So, you know, we're not looking at a perfect job. We just want to get it so we can sell it for whatever. So let's try sanding that and see how we get on. So the plan yesterday was to sand back these humps that we had. This end went fine, and this edge here, we got that down, but this ended up a bit of a disaster, because I was forgetting how thin it was. So it's literally between the top of that gap there to here is literally 1 or 2 mil. So as you can see, well, you can't with my thumb in a way, this is all quite soft, and we actually, here we went completely through the top of it. So I had to fill that with glue and some sawdust, but it's still, I mean, that is quite firm now, but as you can see, this here is really soft, still feels quite damp. So the plan is today is to try and reinforce this to give it some structural integrity back. So what I've got is some wood filler, some bamboo sticks, and from a previous project some lolly sticks. So the plan today is, let me just get one of these out. The plan today is to put these in here, all along this edge, with some wood filler which will harden and hopefully stiffen this all up again. This bottom edge is fine, that didn't get damp, but just this top, which you can see is spongy. And then for this, I had an idea to buy a vinyl wrap for it. So once this is all in and hardened, the wrap's coming today, later today, is once this is all gone off and dried and everything, and all this is filled, is to wrap this in a black, it's like a wood effect. I'll show you, I got it off Amazon. So once that's dried, we'll get the wrap on, we'll fold the wrap over this edge, because you're not going to see this because the back piece will go back on here. So let's get on with doing this and put the hardener in and see how we get on. Okay, so we've filled these gaps here with the some of the lollipop sticks, and if you remember there was a big gap here because one of these things was missing completely. It had ripped out, so we filled that and we've clamped it, so we're just going to wait for that to harden. It's actually going off quite quickly, so I thought that while we're waiting for that to go off to dry, we'll because we don't need to paint this now because we're doing the vinyl on it. So all we need to paint really is this trim, these sides, center, and again all the way around on this trim, and the whole thing, let me just zoom out a little bit, the whole thing externally will be wrapped in the black wood effect vinyl, and then obviously on the draw fronts we're going to have the gold and black vinyl. So I'll quickly put another coat of paint on this edge while we're waiting for that to set. Well, I'm really pleased with that. There is absolutely no movement in that now whatsoever. That is rock solid. So we just need to I think I'll give this just a light coat of paint. I don't know why. I just want to see if it shows up any lumps and bumps once we've got a coat of paint on it, and then I can sand it down, because I don't want anything poking through the vinyl once that's on eventually. I don't want to put it straight onto that just in case something does come poking through, so we want to get it as smooth as we can before we put the vinyl on. Like there's a little tiny bit there that needs sorting out that's sticking up, so we're going to try and trim that off, but generally it's quite smooth. It's just a bit gritty, grainy, so get that done and get another coat of paint and see if it shows up any imperfections. Okay, we've done another coat. We've just glued that little corner there and put a rock on it, try and weigh it down. So I thought while that's going off, we'd make a start on the drawers. So this is the vinyl that's going to go on the drawer fronts. The problem I've got is the paper is only 45 centimeters wide and the drawers are 60. So as you can see, that's kind of level with the end of that drawer there, and then we're that short at the end. So my way of thinking is to, obviously we're going to have a seam, a join. Just one second. So the plan is to have the seam be exactly where the in line with the knob in the middle, rather than having it say here. We'd get one full piece there, but I wouldn't have to cut anything, but then you'd have the seam here, which might look odd. If we put it where the knob is in the center, the knob might sort of detract from the seam. That's if it's that visible. I can't see it being that visible, to be honest. And then I was slightly worried that where these cracks are, you can see that crack there, that there might be a bit of a ridge that would show through, but to be honest, it's negligible, so I think we'll get away with that. So I'm going to cut a piece. I think it's upside down at the minute, is to have the main rows, this here in the middle of the drawer, and then we'll match it up from there. So let's try one piece or one drawer and we'll see how we get on. Okay, the first two pieces are on. Took a bit of trimming, so I've just got to marry up the side of this rose, which is this here. So I've got to find one of those on the neck on the roll and match it with that, and do this piece, and then cut it, stick it the whole thing on, then cut it down the middle. Put the knobs on for effect, so they've come up all right. As I say, it's going in a thrift store, a charity shop, so we're not looking for perfection, but I think it will sell. So we'll get that done, and then tomorrow the vinyl are on, well, all the way around the outside. Okay, first side is done. I had a change of heart. We didn't do the seam down the middle. We've done it just there. I don't know whether you can see it. It runs through this rose. That's the seam. You can see it there slightly, and all the way up there. I was going to start with that rose there, but underneath that rose is this section here, so it's a whole lot of nothing basically. So if that rose had been at the top, you'd have had nothing. We've gone the wrong way around, aren't we? So that would have been there in the corner, and then on the bottom drawer there'd have been that blank of nothing. So we decided to put that rose on the bottom drawer to give us those on the top drawer, like so. So I'll try and show you more of the process when we do that half. Good morning from Andalusia in Spain. It's a beautiful day today. Very clear. You can see the mountains in the distance. Just give you a whiz. That's called La Sagra, the big one at the back. Anyway, good news and bad news. The vinyl arrived and I've just laid it on the top here. The bad news is it's kind of it was supposed to be matte, but it looks quite glossy to me. And the more concerning, well, it's not really, is that I bought a 2 meter length, which I thought was going to be enough, but it's not. It doesn't fit all the way around. So I was going to start in the middle at the bottom and go all the way around, and so the join would be here. There'd be no join anywhere. Well, that's not going to happen. But it does fit across the top and to underneath there. There's a bit of play as well actually in the other side. So we've got that much left, which will go underneath. So you're not going to see underneath, I guess, so it should be all right. So we need to get this on, get these two drawers on this side done, and then put the legs on. So let's get on with that. So the bamboo skewer is our starting point, very technical, and the paper is long enough to come to about the same point at the other end. So you've got to sit it on that lip at the bottom and try and keep it parallel and not running away. So let's find the end. the other saw. Okay, I have to get down on my knees for this. Doesn't want to open up. We're running out slightly there. Got to come down slightly. Let's just run it round and see if it's running straight before we stick it. Yeah. So we've got it partially started. This was the best angle I could think of. It was just so awkward trying to do it on the platform. It seems to be going on quite well. There's getting some tiny little air pockets, which I'm just pricking with a knife and then squeezing the air out. Seems to be working quite well. There are a few little imperfections. I'm using my best pastry scraper to try and get the bubbles out. So it seems to be working quite well. So just doing a couple of inches at a time. This is the back edge here, so not bothered about that. We'll cut that off. But you can see that the paper's got sort of creases in it, which don't want to come out, which is a bit of a pain. It was only €6. It seems to be I think that's where one of the holes was. Say it doesn't need to be showroom condition, it just needs to be sellable. So hopefully we'll achieve that. It's going to be awkward when I come to turn this round in a second. Because we've got to, this has got to fold right under and go underneath, so we're going to have to pick it up and turn it over. But it seems to be going on quite well. And it's staying parallel as well, which is good. So we're almost at the point where we need to flip it over. Checking for any any air bubbles. We don't appear to have any. This back edge is high, but it is what it is. We can't help that. Because the MDF just didn't want to sand. It just goes crumbly. Right, let's get it flipped over. Last section. Seems to be going on okay. So we're just, as we're pulling the backing off, we're just kicked up a little bit there. Last few inches. I'm sure there's a better tool for doing this rather than my pastry scraper, but seems to be going on okay. It's doing the job. And done. Finished. Couple of little bubbles, otherwise not too bad at all. So we're going to fold this extra we'll fold this over, and it helps secure the back on better than the staples that were in it beforehand. And then I think whatever's left showing we'll paint black, but we need to cut some lines in this, obviously because of the curve it's not going to fold straight. So let's do that. I'll do that off camera, and I'll show you once it's done. Right, so we've got the vinyl on, and we've wrapped it around the back, obviously, which you're not going to see. Now what we need to do is get these legs attached. So I need to drill some pilot holes because I don't trust this MDF, because if you look at where these screws are going to be going in, there's a lot of gaps because of those notches. So what I think I'm going to do is drill the pilot holes and then dab some glue on the end of each screw, and then I'm going to put some glue underneath each leg, and hope that keeps them attached. I just don't trust this MDF at all. Okay, let's do that. The legs are all on, so we put glue underneath and we dipped each screw into glue and then screwed them in. So now it's time to flip it over and see the big reveal of our vinyl, see what it looks like. Okay, so It does look a bit ropey in some places. I'm not sure whether you're seeing, there's quite a few bubbles in it. So we need to get the little knife out and make some pinholes in those and try and get rid of them all. Well, in the end I didn't really need to use the knife. I used the scraper and just ran along it, and a lot of the air bubbles just came out. However, I'm not now convinced by this matte. I'm not sure I like the matte black. And obviously with this vinyl being quite glossy, this looks a bit of a mess now, this edging. So I think what I might do is mask it all off. I've got some black spray paint. I'm going to try that on it. I'll try it on one section and see what it comes out like. But this matte just looks like an old bicycle inner tube, that sort of dull milky grey. So let's get it masked off and try a section with the spray paint. So the vinyl is all on. It's not 100% perfect because there's lumps and bumps and whatnot, but it kind of adds to the wood grain effect, I think. It's just baking on in the midday sun. We changed the paint from a matte to this slightly glossier paint. So now we've got, there's yesterday's drawers that we did. We've now got to replicate that onto this side. So let's get set up for that and we'll go through it. So we've got a piece cut and stuck onto there. It was a bit of a faff and it would have taken forever on camera. So now what we've got to do is just trim this edge off here, and then this piece that's hanging down is going to go on the bottom drawer. So what I did yesterday is I just ran my fingernail into the groove between the mirror and the gold edging, and then that just gives me a reference to run the knife along to cut that off. So we'll just run this across, take our time. I'd noticed that when we'd done the first and second drawers yesterday, and then I came to marry up the picture on there today, that when I married up the top drawer, but it didn't marry up with the second drawer by about 1 or 2 millimeters. So that's why I'm having to separate these today. Now it's stuck to the frame. Hopefully it doesn't tear. Okay, so that is for our other drawer. Got some air bubbles there which we'll take care of in a second. We'll just turn this round and just make sure you're in the shot. So we'll do the same again along this edge, fold that down out of the way. On the thumbnail in that groove so we can see where we're going. So seem to have lost the knot. Oh, there it is. Let's get rid of that. Okay. And just go ever so slowly, because if we slip and it tears, we end up with a big gash in it, then we've got to start again. This sticks really well compared to that black vinyl that's on the top, on the sort of outer carcass. That didn't want to stick at all. Whereas this, it's so difficult to peel back off if you get it wrong. So we're there. Let's peel that off if we can. See what I mean? It's like really stuck. It was €18.99, that is, which is quite expensive for what it is on Amazon EU. But everything Amazon EU is expensive. Right, we've got, if you can see there, can you see that? No. We've got some bubbles there, so if we literally just press in with the knife, get the scraper and then chase all the air out through the hole. Let's do that one. That one, that one, and that one. Oh, that one there as well, I didn't see that one. I don't know why, it was the biggest one. And then just, it's got a little bit more in that one. Okay. And then this top edge, it looks fine. Little bubble there. A little one there. Okay, what I've got to do now is marry up the pattern here with our piece off the other drawer. I don't know, do we put it in the drawer? I don't know what we do with it. Okay, so we've got both the drawers out just to get them lined up as best we can, and then that has to go there like so. So let's try that. So we'll just peel off this top edge. Lay it down and then oh, it's stuck. Tricky. Okay. Scraper. Let's come around this side. a little bit of a kink in it there, so let's lift that up. Grab the sheet underneath, kinked again. Okay, I think that should line up. Gosh, it's hot. The camera wants to fall over because this terrace is on a slope. Hopefully you can see. And that's that done. So I'll trim this off and then we've got to do the end pieces. So we got that married up quite well, I think, between the two drawers. So now final two pieces and we're done. For those of you who watched the first video, the chaise longue that I did, if you're interested to know, it sold before it even got to the shop for 175 euros, which is brilliant. So over well, about 130 euros in profit, which is brilliant. That all goes to the puppies. And for those who haven't seen it, I'll put a link in the description for you. So let's get a small piece cut there, and then we need to trim it once it's stuck on. And we are done with another project. It took longer than I anticipated because of obviously the disaster with the hailstorm and it getting damp and then having to put the vinyl wrap on it. We opted for the slightly shinier black paint instead of the matte, which looked really dull, kind of grey almost. And then we've done the vinyl on the drawers, and overall it's come out looking great. We obviously put the legs on. We overlapped the vinyl to hold the flimsy back on as it was, which was just tacked into MDF, which wasn't really holding anything. So there's the wood effect wrap on the top. We redid the knobs, we sprayed them gold, obviously to match. We've got a little bit of a seam, which is hardly noticeable. Again there we've got a seam. The new legs. So it's going to go for sale in the into the puppy charity shop and see what we can get for it. And then we move on to the next project, which is two of these. Two bedside cabinets, or nightstands as they say in America, that still smell. I've had them 2 weeks. they still smell like really old. So any ideas for this one? There'll be a video coming out soon asking people to give me some ideas for these. I have got an idea, but I'm not 100% sure on it. Great, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you on this next one. Bye for now.